TheBeatTheCeltics.com. Can you sum up how difficult this series was for both teams, both physically and mentally, just with all the injuries, people coming in and out, and all of those games?
Yeah, it's kind of tough to, prepare, for a team like Boston. Coming into it, obviously with a younger team, they were more experienced. I think we learned a lot of things from that series we played against them, a few years ago. And the one thing about the Celtics, man, those guys know how to win. They're very well coached and they play really well together. So you definitely got to tip your hat to them.
Marvin, J. King, CLNS Radio. In that second quarter, you were guarded by Rajon Rondo for a large portion. Were you surprised that your team didn't go to you on the post?
Coach does a good job of trying to, take advantage of certain situations. Obviously, we got to get Joe the ball. That's the main focus in our offense. And, I really think he tried to get him going. When mismatches are happening like that, I just try to affect the game in other ways. I try to offensive rebound. Try to impact the game in other ways, side score.
Doug Tribou, NPR's OAD. Could you just talk a little bit about, you guys rebounding after the big loss, and then this sort of what both teams had to do to play these tight games in the last two here?
Oh man, it was tough. After winning down in Atlanta, with our back against the wall, we knew it was going to be tough coming out here. This is probably one of the tougher places to play in the NBA. So we knew the task that we had cut out for us, and I think our team really did a good job putting ourselves in position to win. Coming down the stretch.
What was the feeling, the sense on the bench, on your bench, and that emotional swing in the last 3 minutes of the game? You guys were down for double digits to up 3 or 4 points, and they make one final run. Just describe what that feeling was like.
Oh man, when we got down, God stayed positive. We really stayed positive. We put together, a nice series of stops. We got baskets and, we put ourselves in position. Like I said, we went out 3 and like I said, one thing about Boston, they know how to win. They made plays to get them the lead back, and they kept the lead. So, I think the bench was excited. We were excited out there on the court. We really felt like we did what we had to do to get out of here and win. But, it's never over until it's over.
Anybody else? Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.